Hey, how you guys doing? Hope things are well for you. We're back after a couple of weeks, a little vacation, a little break, a little decorating around the house. I had to hang some pictures. You know how it is. I want to welcome some potential new listeners from the Smart Passive Income podcast by Pat Flynn. If you're unfamiliar with Pat Flynn, he has one of the most prolific and successful podcasts in business on the internet, and it's all about building passive income streams. And yesterday we did an interview about how to be a more effective business person by taking more control of your mind, doing a little meditation, taking more control of your emotions, getting those out of the way so that you can get to the things that you need to do and so that you're not inhibited by negative emotions. And so that's the same kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about today, not necessarily on a business focus, but if you're becoming a more effective person, then it's going to spill over into business in all parts of your life anyway. So our topic for the day is going to be meditation techniques and the various forms of meditation that are available to people who are interested in either practicing or possibly changing because what they've been doing hasn't been working, yada, yada, yada. We're going to talk about a bunch of them. But I wanted to just mention Pat Flynn's email this morning was really poignant. It's funny. It says, these two words scream success. And the two words are, I am. Now, he came at it from a different perspective because he was saying that I am stands for I affect many, I-A-M. But it's good to keep in mind that you should keep in mind that your practice of calming yourself and calming your inner demons does affect everyone around you. So if you're talking about affecting many in a positive manner, man, that message is awesome. Thank you very much, Pat. Okay, so on to today's topic, meditation. Go! Hey, welcome to the I Am Podcast, where we answer all the questions about spirituality and inner peace you ever wanted to ask, and where we discover the secrets of humanity and divinity through a better understanding of both. I am your host, Sean Webb. Okay, so meditation. I mean, what's it all about? It's in the news. It's trending lately. There's, even Fox's CEO, Rupert Murdoch, is starting to meditate now. What the heck's up with that thing? Well, there's a lot of benefits behind meditation that, of course, the spiritual masters have been talking about for the last number of thousands of years. And now it seems that modern medicine is catching up with meditation. Now, you may practice meditation or you may not practice meditation. If not, I have good news for you because we're going to talk about a bunch of options regarding meditation disciplines that you can practice today out of an article that's going to be reposted. I posted it a couple days ago and I'm editing it. I'm going to put it up in the next day or so again regarding the top 15 ways to achieve spiritual enlightenment. And so there are a number of forms of meditation that I talk about, and I'll read a little bit about, from the article because I wrote it, and then I'll also add some comments so that I'm not simply just reading the article to you. But meditation is important. And we talked about it yesterday on Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income podcast in the interview that's going to go up, I think, tomorrow. Meditation is critical for us for the following reasons. The brain, of course, is the organ that helps us survive longer. And our emotions are designed to help us survive longer, even our negative emotions. They're designed to, when a bear walks out of the woods in front of us, our emotions help us flood the bloodstream with adrenaline. It helps constrict the pupils, acutely focuses our attention on the bear, and preps us for fight or flight, which can extend our life, right? That's a positive aspect of some negative emotions that we can feel. And so the definition of fear is that when a portion of yourself is threatened, fear exists. Fear comes into existence through the unconscious processing of your brain, right? That goes off the tracks a little. That process goes off the tracks a little bit when you take into consideration that we now live in this, first world, if you're lucky, this first world environment where now our sense of self extends to other cognitive things like our religion or our politics or our expectations about how our day is going to go in the business world and things like that. And so these are additional attachments that create an additional sense of self. And so when these things come into threat or come into attack or come into devaluation, that's what causes the emotions of fear, anger, sadness, worry, regret, etc., about those non-life-threatening attachments. And that's the kind of stuff that ruins our day without actually being life-threatening. But ironically, here is the reality of that, because these negative emotions that we experience create stress, they create stress hormone, they create cortisol, and all of those things do kill you earlier than you would normally keel over and die. If you have a bunch of negative emotions floating around in your life, in your existence, you will die earlier, period. And you'll be less effective. And let's talk about some science that backs those wild, crazy assertions up. There was a study by the Institute for National Medicine and Prevention, and it was a 10-year study, so this isn't like, something short-lived. It split people into two groups. The first group was told to eat right and exercise, right? Everything that conventional medicine tells us to do, they said, do it. We want you to exercise daily. We want you to eat right and, low fat, low carb, that type of thing, good diet of healthy greens and all that other stuff, all the stuff that conventional medicine tells us to do. And we want you to do that indefinitely over 10 years. And so the second group was told not to eat right and exercise, but to meditate for 20 minutes twice a day. Now that's a lot. And there were some people who didn't quite get all of that meditation in, but we have numbers for those as well. But the people who meditated, who did do the meditation 20 minutes a day, twice a day, like once in the morning, once at night, like right before bed type of thing, they decreased their heart attack and stroke by over 66% over the diet and exercise, folks. So the people who are living a healthy lifestyle with diet and exercise were trounced by the people who were meditating for heart attack and stroke. Why? Because they were reducing their stress. And reducing stress reduces your risk of heart attack and stroke and high blood pressure and other things that kill you. Because guess what? According to the National Institutes of Health, stress is the number one killer nationally. And probably internationally, but, the National Institutes of Health, national being the title, U.S.-based. That's what kills people. That's what creates heart attack. That's what creates high blood pressure. That's what creates stroke. Those factors are all brought on by stress. And what's stress brought on by? Well, stress is an imbalance in the equation of emotion. Anytime an equation of emotion goes imbalanced for any period of time, stress exists. Because there's an expectation or preference that you want. For those people who are new to the podcast, let's talk about that for a second. Equation of emotion, expectation and a preference as compared to your reality as perceived, your perception. If those things don't match, then that creates a negative emotion. Well, if that goes on for a long time, that creates stress, right? And so you're talking about adding stress to your life, and if there's something that you expect or prefer and it's just not meeting your goals, like let's say you'd like to make more money and you're not making enough money for yourself that you would like to make for years and years and years, that shit's going to kill you. I'm sorry, but it is. And so we've got to learn a way to reduce our stress and reduce our alpha waves, reduce the level of cortisol, reduce the level of stress hormone, that type of thing. And it doesn't take a lot, because the other portion of that study says for the folks who could only meditate about once a day, they reduced their heart attack and stroke by almost 50% over the diet and exercise folks. And as a bonus, the meditators reported a dramatic reduction in anger issues, and they were able to handle a bunch of other things as well, including reduction in fatigue, increasing alertness, increasing concentration, enhancing their cognitive function, and they had a 50% decrease in the amount of noise that existed in their mind. Now, why is that important? Well, because studies have shown that the distractions that we get on average by every 11 minutes or so, if you switch your attention back and forth It's called switching your mindsets. If you switch your mindset back and forth between things and you try to multitask and try to get things done, not only are you going to lose time during the day because it's going to take 25 minutes to get back to your original task when you switch your mindset, it does cause stress, as proven by a Gloria Marks study published 4 of 2012, where she showed interruptions like that result in significantly higher stress levels in the body. Now, why that's important is David Meyer at the University of Michigan showed that higher stress levels equate to higher stress hormones, okay, which dramatically inhibit short-term memory retention, which throws us right back into that negative loop of the brain not working right, and then all of a sudden your emotions are going haywire and you're causing even more stress. You get this negative snowball effect. Okay, that's bad news. Can't do that. So if you're not meditating, you're not only not pushing yourself in the right direction, you are actually pushing yourself in the wrong direction by letting things go to crap. And so that's not good. Let's not do that. Let's all meditate. Wouldn't we do better if we just all meditated? Wouldn't the world be a better place if we all meditated? And I know a lot of you are sitting out there thinking, meditation, that's crazy. Well, guess what? Massachusetts General, because of this awesome thing called plasticity, showed that meditation changes brain structure in as little as 8 weeks. So if you just try meditation for a couple of months, you will find that your brain changes to make it easier for you to meditate and easier for you to calm that inner noise that creates all your turmoil. So this isn't something that's, you got to do it for 20 years before you get the benefits. This is 2 months and you're on the right track, baby. This is awesome stuff. So now let's talk about the types of meditation. There are multiple forms of meditation that we can talk about. Every form of meditation is focused on reducing the mind to no thought. And if you're unfamiliar with the concept of spiritual enlightenment basically is this hallucination that is almost the same in everyone who experiences it globally. But it's the thing that the Buddha found, it's the thing that Jesus talked about in a lot of his hidden teachings, like the Gospel of Thomas, stuff like that. Muhammad talked about it a little bit. Of course, all of the Eastern traditions, Buddhism, Taoism, Sikhs, Sufis, all those folks talk about enlightenment. In Judaism, it's called Yehida. And the various terms are moksha, satori, awakening, enlightenment. The Christians call it receiving the grace of God. But basically, it's this hallucination that when your mind reduces thought level to zero, your consciousness expands into this infinite space. It's amazing. You can't even explain it. It's an experience. But basically getting this meditation practice to where your mind reduces thought to zero is what meditation is all about. And the closer you get to that, the more regulated your alpha waves are, the less noise is being created in your brain, and the more calm your entire life is as a result. So that was the hypothesis, is that all meditation and all meditative disciplines are designed to reduce your thoughts down to zero. So we start with mindfulness meditation, and this is one of the most popular forms of meditation in the West. It's called Vipassana over in the East, and it comes from a Buddhist tradition, right? This is the type of meditation that the Buddha would try to tell people to use. And by the way, Buddha just means the enlightened one, right? He's just a dude, just like you and me. And he simply had this enlightenment experience that allowed him to see all of this extra stuff and answer all these questions, because it's a cool type of phenomenon that just gives you tons of answers for your own life. It's crazy when you cease all thought in your mind. You think you're thinking less, and all of a sudden your consciousness explodes into knowing a bunch of stuff that you really would love to know that improves your life. So it's possibly the most popular form of meditation taught in the West, although it's usually not directly tied to Buddhism when it's taught. Vipassana focuses on being present wherever you are. And it's letting your mind run freely and simply observing whatever thoughts arise within you without judgment and with full acceptance of those thoughts. Now, the process of thought usually is the reason the brain works the way it does and the way it throws up so much noise is because it's designed to help you pay attention to things that could be a risk to you or that could help prolong your life. So it's like, is this important? Is this important? Is this important? Is this important? It's constantly throwing things up in front of us. And that's what emotions are, is the process of throwing things up in front of us that are maybe important to us and extending our life. So in the first world version of that situation, all of a sudden we start getting, who's going to get kicked off idle tonight? Oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? Oh, what am I going to eat for lunch today or whatever it is? And so when those things go in front of your waking consciousness, then there's this kind of separate consciousness, this dual consciousness that's part of the whole package, that you're directing thought from the things that are being thrown up in front of you. So who's going to be kicked off idle tonight? Oh, well, I really like this one singer, but this other singer did a really good thing really good performance the other night, yada, yada, yada. Now you're directing thought in your brain to perpetuate that whole process. Well, when you're in Vipassana meditation or mindfulness meditation, you're simply sitting there not directing anything. You're just letting things be thrown up in front of you, and you're not reacting to it, and you're not directing things. And sometimes you'll find yourself off track, and you'll be like all lost in who's getting kicked off idle. And then you'll be like, oh, crap. And then you got to start all over again. So the thing that happens in Vipassana meditation is that you sit there in quiet solitude, and you watch the thoughts fly up and then fade away. And things fly through, and they go away. And if you're in that space of not directing your thought and just letting things happen, eventually what happens is that your brain slows that activity down, because you're not saying what you're saying without saying it is, hey, don't think about things. Nothing's important right now. And so eventually your brain gets that message, and it stops sending things up in front of you. And all of a sudden, there becomes this awesome inner peace existence that you couldn't have experienced if you were directing your thought and reacting to the ideas that are popping up in your mind that your brain is designed to put in front of you. Okay? And so that's what Vipassana meditation is all about. Second meditation, sitting meditation. You can do Vipassana sitting, by the way. You can do it sitting, standing, laying in bed, wherever you want to do it. But sitting meditation is more like the Zen tradition. Now, Zen monks, who are the Buddhists who kind of split off and figured out a very practical way to try to achieve enlightenment, which was sitting very staunch in a posture that is somewhat uncomfortable so that you could ignore the pain in your posture, with your back straight, with your eyes open and defocused down a little bit on the wall. You just kind of pick a spot and zone out, and you sit and specifically think of nothing. And you sometimes can forcefully think of nothing. It's called Zazen. Zen koans, which you may have heard of, like what is the sound of one hand clapping, are riddles that are designed not to have a mindful answer to them. You can't figure them out mentally because the answer to meditation isn't within the mind. It's in quieting the mind. So meditating on those things may cause the mind to hiccup and stop thinking altogether. Best book that I could probably point you to on Zen or Zen meditation is Introduction to Zen Buddhism by D.T. Suzuki. It was one of the books that I was reading when I accidentally stumbled onto enlightenment before I knew what it was. Zazen is also referred to as just sitting, because the intention is that all you do is you just sit. You don't think. Walking meditation. Walking meditation is a form of meditation in action. In walking meditation, one uses the experience of walking as the focus. You're not thinking of who's going to get kicked off idle. You're thinking about, well, you're not really thinking. You're just kind of focused on one step after the other. You focus on your breathing. And this is one of the cool things about walking meditation and other forms of moving meditation, is that if you're focused on your breathing and you're walking and you're doing aerobic exercise and you're filling up the top third of your lungs, that increases the oxygen being delivered to your brain. And how does that help you? Well, if your brain is getting more oxygen, it's being more responsive to your will. And if you're telling it to calm down, it will calm down more because you're getting more oxygen to your brain, which is why you focus on breathing in meditation a lot of times, which is focus, like the moving meditation helps you. Jikoshu Kwong says, breath sweeps the mind. Well, there's a reason that breath sweeps the mind, because it gives it more oxygen for you to be able to control your mind better. So going out walking is a great form of meditation if you just clear your mind. And when you're outside, you're going to have a lot of distractions of, cars and birds and whatever else is going on around you. If you simply observe the sights and sounds without judgment, and you just focus on walking and being there, you'll feel the expansion. You'll feel yourself kind of bleeding out away from your body to be one with all the stuff that's around you, all of nature, all the grass, all the trees, all the traffic, all the noise, and you are simply there with it, and it's a really cool experience, so you might want to try it. Next type of meditation, transcendental meditation. Okay, now transcendental meditation is really popular in Iowa. There's like a whole population of folks in the middle of the country who are now practicing transcendental meditation, and there are whole centers around meditation. So if you're big into TM, you may want to move to Iowa. But basically, transcendental meditation is based on the traditions associated with Vedanta in the Indian traditions. Vedanta is the meditative practice within Hinduism. In transcendental meditation, you sit in a comfortable position while clearing the mind and focusing on a sacred mantra. If you're focused on just one thing, if you're focused on just the mantra over and over and over and over and over and over again, and this is the same thing that happens in religions when you're talking about doing a bunch of Hail Marys, or you're doing a bunch of, Our Fathers. You're doing the one thing over and over and over and over and over again. Well, that is designed to reduce your thoughts to that one thing. And that is one step away from thinking of nothing. And it's a great way to clear your mind. Kundalini meditation is also a practice that arises from the Vedantic traditions. Now, this one's trending lately. Kundalini is this, latest marketing thing. Kundalini literally means coiled. The belief associated with Kundalini is that with the practice of yoga, a life energy, an unconscious, instinctive, or libidinal force, also called Shakti, lies coiled at the base of your spine. Okay, so that's where this life energy emanates from. In practical terms, one of the most commonly reported Kundalini experiences is the feeling of an electric current running along the spine. It's like your spine heats up. It's a crazy thing when you experience it. It almost scares you. But if you expect it, then that's one thing that you can deal with. But basically, if you do yoga, there's some Kundalini yoga that you do. Sometimes you'll get some instruction in Kundalini meditation while you're doing yoga. It's really trendy right now. People like it, and it does give you that really, that physical, something's happening, spine tingling thing. Don't freak out if it happens to you. Qigong is the next form of meditation that we're going to talk about. It is a physical form of meditation. Qigong actually gets its roots from the martial art of Tai Chi, so it fits into both the meditation and martial arts categories. But from the meditation perspective, it is a form of Taoist meditation that practices and cultivates the balance of qi, which is commonly translated as your intrinsic life energy, right? Qi is your life force inside of you, typically centered right below your belly button. From a practical perspective, Qigong can be considered a very effective and relaxing standing or moving meditation. Now, for you older folks who aren't as limber anymore, Qigong is a great way to go to reduce your alpha waves and reduce your thought levels without, and getting your body moving and getting your blood flowing, getting oxygen to your brain, so that'll help your effort without having to be extremely physical, because Qigong is low impact. And for the folks who are advanced or athletic, some advanced stuff. Like in Tai Chi, when you're holding yourself off the floor with just 2 hands and you're balancing and you increase that to 3 fingers, that's pretty solid physical exercise there, and it also requires a lot of stretching and a lot of limberness, so you may want to check that out as well. You can check out any Shaolin center to find a good place to practice and learn Tai Chi. Notice that I'm wearing my Shaolin Kung Fu and Tai Chi shirt. Yeah, baby, I practice. The next and last type of meditation that we're going to talk about today, guided meditation. And this is the one for the folks who really need to be spoon-fed meditation. Guided meditation is a form of meditation where an individual is verbally guided into an altered state of consciousness, either by a person's live voice or by a recording of a voice. This process and practice of meditation requires an individual to follow verbal instructions that teach the individual how to relax the entire body. So there you go. So I hope this helps you get a better idea, and I hope this wasn't overload. I'm very sorry for the length today and that I speak quickly and that I give you a lot of information. You may have to listen to this more than once. There's more to this article, by the way. There are also other disciplines to be able to meditate, including contemplative prayer is one of those ways, chanting, yoga, martial arts, fasting, sensory deprivation tanks are awesome. I love you guys. I hope things are going well with you. If you'd like to pick up Introduction to Zen Buddhism by D.T. Suzuki, it's just a great read. You can pick it up at audible.com by going to our link, audibletrial.com/IamSpirituality, and you can get that for free if you're not already an Audible member. I've been a member for 6 years, and that's one thing in the budget I will never take out. It's awesome to have the author of the book read the book to you in his own voice, and every book is only like $11 if you're a member. That's how much basically a credit gets you, and 1 credit gets you 1 book, and that book can be like 50 some hours, by the way. They have fiction, nonfiction. It's an awesome place. If you want to check that out, please use our link. If you show them love, they show us love, and we appreciate that love. Also, if you want to drop by and give us a review on iTunes, we very much appreciate that. It helps people find us. We've got a ton of 5-star reviews. We really much appreciate that kind of stuff. But, whatever. Okay, so if you want to bounce your great-grandkids on your knees and experience a great deal of inner peace in your entire life while getting there, go meditate.